This last winter, now I don't know whether it was in January or February, it might even be, but rather recently, a man who had been convicted of murder and who had been in jail for 15 years was let go because another man confessed to the murder. Now, here we had, in the original trial, you had 12 jurors. They all agreed on the witnesses' positions, from what the witnesses said, putting it all together. All 12 of them agreed that this man was guilty. Now, in a murder case, with the laws as they are to protect innocent people, and they're rather strict, 12 people, and I would suppose all of them, or nearly all of them, were quite honest. Certainly most of them would be honest. 12 people were convinced beyond any moral doubt that this man had committed murder. And all 12 of them were wrong.
So maybe that happens in 1% of the cases. So
and therefore, you discard all the other cases.
On what basis do you say that?
So if you were Supreme Court justice, you just bar the whole system?
No, I wouldn't. I would admit that it is frequently mistaken. Yeah.
So are you then saying that our sentences sometimes can be mistaken?
Yes.
Or are you saying that they're totally untrustworthy?
If they contradict, one of them may be right, you know. If the two things are contraries, well, then they can both be wrong. But if they're contradictories, one must be right. The trouble is, you can't tell which. You know one is wrong, but you don't know which one's wrong.
Okay, but usually our sentences don't conflict with each other, and then we can...
Oh, I think they often do, more than just once. In fact, I think I have that experience every day. I want to give very well.
Doesn't it, I don't want to anticipate too much, but doesn't it seem like even to say that we're people who base our apologetic on the Bible, or even our theology on the Bible, doesn't that imply the necessity of sense perception?
No.
So that we don't have to be able to read the Bible or hear?
I shall take up that question. But at present, I wish to show you can't trust your senses. Please let me give other people. I don't want to cut you off, but yes.
I probably should have asked this question a while ago when you said it, but you defined empiricism a while ago as the position of...
Yes, the mind is a blank sheet at the start, and the first lessons it gets are from sensation.
You also made some statement to the effect that all knowledge is based on sense experience.
Yeah.
I should have asked before, but if you could explain more what you mean by base.
Oh, yes. The mind has no a priori forms. The first tiny bit of information is a sensation. The next tiny bit is a sensation. And as these bits accumulate, you put them together and so on, and the bits of sensation are organized into whatever complicated knowledge you might claim to have. But everything comes out of sensation. The mind, as such, has no form at all. There are no a priori forms. In the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, there used to be, maybe there still is, but I haven't been there 10 years, there used to be a recess in the wall down in the basement around the corner. And in this recess, there was a vase with a rose in it. And on the wall, under the recess, there was a sign, you may put in your hand and take the rose, which, of course, I proceeded to try to do. Now, when I put in my hand, the rose wasn't there anymore. When I took it out, there was the rose. I could see it quite clearly. Put it in my hand, the rose disappeared. Took my hand out, the rose was quite visible. Was there a rose there? Did my eyes tell me the truth, or did they deceive me? I didn't touch the rose, but then that's the absence of a sensation. That is, but there's something peculiar about it.
How do you know that your senses deceive you? On what basis does one know that your senses?
Because if your senses say two incompatible things, one of them must be false. Now, in this case, the two incompatible data were not given at the same time. You can say, if you wish, that there was a spring, and when you put your hand in, somehow you touched the spring, and the spring took the rose away, and then when you put your hand, the rose came back. But that wasn't the way it was done.
How does one know that they're incompatible?
Beg pardon?
How does one know that they're incompatible? If the two are incompatible. For instance, in the drawing, you observe the drawing, and it appears, we say it appears two different ways, but how do we know that they're actually incompatible?
Well,
How do you not know that the artist intended to draw a picture that would give?
well, I suppose he did.
Yeah, and so does that mean that
He intended to deceive us, and we are deceived, yes.
So in a sense, our senses are doing the job correctly.
They are doing the incorrect job correctly.
But your mind is what deceives you, not your senses. You saw
On the empirical basis, everything in the mind is sensation and its combinations. There isn't anything else.
But the only data which the senses convey, when you look, you saw a flower, when you touched it, didn't feel one. Now,
I didn't touch it. You can't touch it. There's no sense of touch at all there.
You reached out to touch it. You didn't touch
It
the
disappeared. No.
Right. Now, there's no contradiction until the mind tells you there's a contradiction. It's not the senses saying there's a contradiction, is it?
The two senses contradict.
But the mind that receives the input of those two senses is assuming the law of non-contradiction.
No. Because in empiricism, the mind has no a priori form. It's totally blank. And on their theory, you must construct the law of contradiction from the sensations. And that's something else I'm going to try to show is impossible.
How does one even know that there are two contradictory elements there, apart from sensation? It seems like you have to admit empirical data to maintain that it's not balanced.
Yes, that's right. Only they're not data. Now, if I had the graceful, long fingers that some charming young ladies in this course have, and could run, what's the symphony, the fellas, real fast scales, you know who I mean. Sonata K554. Anyhow, you notice my what's that? No, it's not Liberace. I'll think of it in a minute, but it's hard for me to remember. Now, if I had long, graceful fingers like some of the young ladies have who can run scales, you could take a toothpick or something like this, and you see one thing going through your fingers, you feel two. Here, these sensations occur at the same time, and they cannot both be true. But you have these two inconsistent, incompatible sensations at the same time. Or take another familiar illustration, the fishing pole that you drop into the water. It looks crooked, but as the gentleman on the left says, you always trust your fingers and not your eyes. It feels straight, but it looks crooked. The two senses contradict each other at the same time.